July 4th, 1776 was a date not only to be remembered as a holiday, but also as a day in which men dedicated their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor to shake off the chains of tyranny and proclaim that all men and women are created equal in the eyes of God Almighty, to give to their posterity the rights to life, to liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. In order to more clearly understand what happened on July 4th, 1776, we must understand what preceded this Declaration of Independence. It all began at Carpenter's Hall in Philadelphia from September 5th to October 26th, 1774. 12 of the 13 colonies, Georgia abstaining, showed up to communicate the King and Parliament, as well as to the colonies and the rest of the world, the grievances of the colonies. The colonies desired to have a representative voice in the English Parliament. The first few weeks were consumed with discussion and debate. The colonies had always, up to this time, acted as independent entities. On October 14th, the Declaration and Resolves established the course of the Congress as a statement of principles common to all of the colonies. Congress voted to meet again the following year if these grievances were not attended to by England. It was only several days later, on October 20th, that there was a pact established among the colonies which demanded the non-importation of English goods, to establish mechanisms throughout the colonies to enforce and regulate the resistance to Great Britain, and to keep the channels of communications open. It was to become effective on December 1st, 1774, unless Parliament should rescind the intolerable acts. Here is a list of those who met at this First Continental Congress. On April 19th, 1775, both Lexington and Concord were attacked. This led to a Second Continental Congress meeting on May 10th, 1775, at the State House in Philadelphia. 65 representatives from each of the 13 original colonies gathered to take control of the war. Representatives from all 13 colonies wanted to form a Continental Army. George Washington, who was from Virginia, was chosen as the Army's commanding general. He was chosen because of his experience in the French and Indian War, because he was a colonial officer at that time. The Congress also authorized the printing of money and set up a system where the government would borrow money from its citizens and pay it back with interest. This was to help supply and pay their troops of the Continental Army. The Congress even created the first postal service and formed the first American Navy. They were acting like a real government. Despite the ongoing conflict, most colonists hoped for peace. Even some patriots were still loyal to the king, but just blamed Parliament for the terrible events taking place. In July 1775, the Continental Congress tried one more attempt at peace. The Congress drafted what was known as the Olive Branch Petition and sent it to London. This document asked the king to restore harmony between Britain and the colonies and offered suggestions on how to resolve their problems. The king rejected the petition, refusing to read it because, in his mind, it was an illegal document made by an illegal Congress. Not only did the king reject the colonists' attempt at peace, but he announced new measures to punish the colonists. He declared that all British ships stop American ships from leaving their ports. He also hired Hessians or German soldiers to fight in America against the colonists. After receiving the rejection from the king of their Olive Branch Petition, the colonists knew that there was only one thing left to do: to disband all ties with Great Britain. This was also a very fearful thing to do. So a document needed to be forged in order for the colonists to actually make treaties and alliances with other countries. The awesome task of forging this document was put into the hands of Thomas Jefferson. In July of 1776, Thomas Jefferson came back with a draft of this document. In this draft, other members of the Second Continental Congress made their edits. On July 4th, 1776, this document, in its final stage, was presented to the Second Continental Congress and passed. This document, signed by all 13 colonies, holds these famous words that ring down through history. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundations on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not change for light or transient causes. And accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security.